You know, so I'll begin. First of all, I'd like to say welcome to the Black Forest. My name's Jack, and I'd like to tell you a few things about clocks, about the history and traditional clockmaking here, and also show you how we make cuckoo clocks, and show you some examples of the cuckoo clocks that we have. And I'll start at the beginning. And the beginning in this case is 1640. When the first clock was made here in the Black Forest, and this is a replica of that clock. As you can see, it's a very simple affair, with 3 wooden cogwheels, a wooden beam as a balance instead of a pendulum. For weights, stones, this one would have to be wound up once every 12 hours, and one hand which showed the hour, but not the minutes, so it wasn't the most accurate of clocks, but I think in 1640 it probably didn't matter that much. In about 1720 then they started making clocks like these, called shield clocks. The faces were made to resemble a shield, painted faces. First of all with wooden movements inside, wooden mechanisms, then with metal mechanisms. And along the years they developed 2 weights, a pendulum, and also 2 hands, one which showed the minutes, and one which showed the hour. This one dates back to 1820. And occasionally still tells the right time. Not always. Okay, in about 1860, the railways first came to the Black Forest. You can see the viaduct up there, perhaps, which carries the railway. And they started making clocks like these, called station house clocks. They were often to be found in station houses, and they were built to resemble station houses. And by this time, actually about 100 years before, they'd also incorporated this little chap on the top there, the cuckoo, because it was a common bird in the Black Forest at the time, and also because it was an easy bird to imitate the sound. I'll come back to that in a minute. But first of all, I'll just mention this clock here, which is the biggest cuckoo clock that we have in the shop. It costs nearly 7,000. Some decorative figures that they'd use then. And that would be the last part, which is done by machine. The rest of the decorative figures, all the finishing, carving, would be done by hand with tools such as these. So that, for instance, the semi-partially completed stamp would in the end look like that. Now I'd like to show you just what a simple cuckoo clock case or house looks like. You'd start off with a pine wood case. Then I have some simple decoration on the front and a roof on top, and there you have your very simple cuckoo clock case or house. But of course it's no good without something inside. And here you can see the 4 different kinds of movements that we have for the cuckoo clocks. These 2 here play music. You can see the platforms on the top where dancers or figures will rotate. You see examples of them later. These 2 here have just a cuckoo sound. This one and this one are 1-day movements. This one and this one 8-day movements or mechanisms. I'll show you now how to tell them apart by looking at the clock, or rather by looking at the weights. If you see a clock with big weights like these, you can tell it's an 8-day mechanism. It has an 8-day mechanism. It means it has to be wound up. You have to wind it up just once a week. If, however, a clock has small weights, you can tell it's a 1-day mechanism. You have to wind it up once a day. Now, every cuckoo clock has at least 2 weights, one for the mechanism and one for the cuckoo. One for the mechanism, one for the cuckoo sound. But about half of our clocks will have an additional 3rd weight. And that shows you that the clock also plays music. Okay, 3 weights means music. Now we come back to that cuckoo sound again. How do we get a cuckoo sound? Well, it's very simple. It's a matter of a pair of bellows and whistles, and they go something like this. So now you know it's not a real cuckoo sound. Okay, that was a medium-sized cuckoo clock, but of course the smaller cuckoo clock would have a smaller cuckoo, a baby cuckoo, like that. And the bigger clocks, of course, would have a deep-sounding granddaddy cuckoo. Sometimes with a sore throat as well. Okay. Now then, everything about these cuckoo clocks, everything in them is made here in the Black Forest, apart from this. And this is the music box. This is made in the French part of Switzerland. They have a patent for it there, so we have to import them from Switzerland. I'll just show you a little trick. If I turn this in mid-air, you don't hear any sound at all apart from the clicking because it's broken anyway. You don't hear any music. But if I have to put it against wood, maybe if you listen carefully, then you can hear the music. That's because the wood vibrates and transmits the sound. Okay, I'll show you this clock next. This was made especially for you, so you can see inside, see what it looks like inside a cuckoo clock. And if I set it going, I hope it's not just 1 o'clock, but you see the cuckoo, the bellows for the cuckoo here the music box, inside the mechanism, and above the dancers. There's the cuckoo. There's the music box and the dancers above. So that's what it looks like inside a cuckoo. Now this clock also has another very important feature, and that's this lever here on the left-hand side, with which you and the cuckoo can go to sleep at night, because if you lift that lever, the clock continues to run, but the cuckoo stops and the music stops. And then in the morning, if you want, you can put it on again, and the cuckoo wakes up in good voice, and you wake up refreshed after a good night's sleep. So if you'd like to follow me over here, I'll show you some more examples of the clocks. So we have the replica of the side of this building where you're standing now. And every half an hour you can actually see the rotating life-sized dancers and a very large cuckoo. Okay, this one here is one of my favorites. After the cuckoo's finished, you'll see the dancers above. The mill wheel will turn, the man moves a stick, the light goes on at the lantern, and the men start working on the saws. This is the only clock that we have with a little battery inside, and the battery is only to light the lantern. Everything else is powered by the weights, as in all the other cuckoo clocks here. Okay, I'll quickly show you this one here. This is not strictly a cuckoo clock. This is an owl clock. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear the owl. Of course, the lever on the side of this clock, you turn it off during the day and on during the night for the owl to be able to put away. Okay, and the last one I'll show you is this one. This is called the honeymoon clock. And after the cuckoo's finished here, you'll also see the dancers, of course, the mill wheel turning, and the happy couple in the corner. That's the honeymoon clock. Okay, all in all we have 120 clocks here, different shapes and sizes. They all have a guarantee for 2 years. We can ship them all over the world. Shipping costs depend on the weight of the clocks. The prices you see here, they include a European tax, which you don't have to pay. But what we do is, if you decide to carry a clock with you, you will get a tax check, with which, at the last airport before you leave Europe, you'll be able to claim about 10% back on what you pay. If, however, you decide to ship something, you get 13% off here at this shop. So you have to pay 13% less than the price showed you. Okay, don't forget, across the way there's a teddy shop, teddy house, where you can buy soft toys and such things. Downstairs there's a glass blower's hut, glassware. Thank you for listening. Hope you have a nice time.
Thank you. Thank you. Germany.